Study Session 3. Approaches to the Study of Public Administration. Introduction. In the previous study session, we related how administration gets involved with politics. In this study session, we shall explore the different approaches to the study of public administration. These are scientific approach, institutional approach, and comparative approach. Learning outcomes. When you have studied this study session, you should be able to explain the methods involved in scientific approach, discuss the institutional approach, and discuss the major propositions of the comparative approach. Scientific approach. This approach entails the application of scientific methods to the study of public administration. In this approach, we have the following methods. A. Behavioral approach. B. Human relation approach. 3. Systems approach. Behavioral approach. When behavioral approach is used, that means the attitudes and the behaviors of the individual members of an organization are put into consideration in the organization. It does not involve itself with the actual organization or institution where the individual members display any form of attitudes. This approach makes one study the internal dynamics of the organization, especially in terms of the strength and weakness of individual behaviors. It also leads us to the understanding of an individual in an organization and the impact of the organization on the individual, especially on how the organization is able to influence the character of the individual in the workplace. It has been noted that the behavioral approach specifies the behaviors of persons and social groups rather than institutions. The behavioral approach also involves the systematic gathering and analysis of data to confirm or reject findings. Some of the methods used to gather information include questionnaires, interviews, and survey methods. Note: it has been noted that the behavioral approach specifies the behaviors of persons and social groups rather than institutions. The behavioral approach has generated much controversy in the discipline of political science. Critics have questioned its basic assumptions and argued that what could be considered as reality only consists mainly of unique elements, and that whatever regularities that exist in the study of human behavior are trivial in nature. It should be noted, however, that despite its perceived shortcomings, the behavioral approach has greatly encouraged the scientific study of public administration. Human relation approach. This approach was developed to fill the gap created in the behavioral approach. It deals with the situation in which the individual and his aspiration is not in line with the goals of the organization. This involves the molding and training of the individual so that individual differences in an organization could be harmonized and structured in line with the structure and goals of the organization. It equally involves the integration of different people in an organization in order to enhance cooperation and organizational efficiency so that the goals and aspirations of the organization can be easily achieved. Tip: human relation approach was developed to fill the gap created in the behavioral approach. Methods of human relation approach. 1. Managers must manage the organization in such a way as to boost the ego needs of an individual so that individuals' aspirations will be compatible with the goal of the organization. This can be attained by increasing payment, improving shelter, and creating higher status for the workforce, e.g., promotion to the post of chief driver. 2. The managers must have consideration for the feelings of the subordinates. For instance, suggestion boxes should be provided to seek people's opinions in order to promote a perfect means of effective communication, through which the feelings and reactions of the workers can be sampled about the organization's policy. 3. The managers should promote a sense of belonging and responsibility. 4. The managers should devise a very good policy coupled with effective coordination and control so as to achieve the organizational goals. Systems approach. This approach ensures that the organization exists within the environment of other functioning systems, units and branches, depending on the structure of the organization. What this approach stresses is that no organization or unit of a workforce is an island on its own. That is, there are other units that service the main body, and this does not make the units to be less important. All units, subunits, and branches work together with the main body for the attainment of the organization's goals. Reflection. No organization or unit of a workplace is an island on its own. That is, there are other units that service the main body, and this does not make the units to be less important. All units, subunits, and branches work together with the main body for the attainment of the organization's goals. The system functions by getting inputs from its environment. Inputs are events in the environment that evoke response from it. The inputs could be in form of demands or supports, that is, expressions of approval from particular decisions. The inputs undergo a conversion process within the system and come out as outputs, which are decisions taken by the organization's authorities. The output, that is, decision or act, usually affects the environment as outcomes and in turn elicits some forms of feedback, that is, change in the intensity and volume of demands and support from the environment of the organization. Institutional approach. The core area of this method lies in detailed study of the structure, the functioning, rules and regulations of the executives, legislatures, and the departments of government. The scholars who practice this approach consider administration to be an apolitical and technical function which lies only in the aspect of policy implementation. Comparative approach. Comparative approach to the study of public administration entails comparing organizational systems in different backgrounds and countries. It equally refers to cross-cultural approach. However, care must be taken when comparing organizational systems because there may not be a common ground for the study to arrive at as the basis for operational practice. For example, the issue of culture and religion are some of the most basic features that need to be considered when applying a comparative approach to the study of public administration. In some Islamic societies, for instance, women are given certain levels of liberty at workplace, while there are equally time limits for work in some places because of religious worship. Study session summary. In this study session, you learned that public administration deals with the totality of human endeavor. And due to its involvement in the scientific application of finding facts, it is necessary to understand various approaches to the study of public administration. Some of the approaches discussed therefore include scientific, institutional, and comparative approaches. End of study session 3. Thanks for listening.